It is the day of the Mythical Island new pack release for Pokemon Pocket, and we already have a ton of tournament-topping deck lists with the brand new card. So for many that believe that this pack would be bad, you now know exactly what the chase cards are and what decks are good. But this is early data, early release. We're going to have more data as more tournaments happen, even within just this week. So if we click on over to the tier list, you'll see that the tier list is looking the same because not enough events have happened to put a dent into this tier list. It will be by, I believe, even tomorrow, you'll see some new decks propping up here because we're using the latest 500 tournament topping deck lists, which, believe it or not, Pokemon Pocket tournaments are immensely popular. This is very quickly going to get populated. So let's, instead of just going to the tournament articles on the front page, I'm going to use the top decks page. And from here, I'm going to click on new cards. And I'll also click on tournaments, so it's not just the win streaks, which is another way to see some interesting decks here. Boom. By clicking tournaments, you could see that Mewtwo at the moment is dominating with the new pack. And this is exactly what I predicted when talking about the new pack, that I believe Mewtwo would be the best new deck. Not new, but the best deck using new cards, as the new pack is supporting it a bunch. We could also click on first place in the tournaments. Boom. New cards being used, getting first place, Celebi EX, Mewtwo winning 4 different tournaments, and Pikachu EX using a new card or 2. Now, without further ado, let's hop into the deck list themselves that are top in tournaments and have a new card being used in them. So we're going to start this off with Starmie EX. What is this? Let's open this up. We have top 4 in the PAL Cup 260 player events. Nothing here is new besides the one Mew. I talked about this in my discussion of Mew, that I believe that this would be played in almost every single deck because the genome hacking ability is 3 colorless to choose an opponent's active Pokemon, copy its attack, and you get to use its attack. It's not like Ditto where you have to have the same colored energy as the attack that you're copying, which is absolutely insane. So for the best deck being Mewtwo, we could see that what ability would we copy on a Mewtwo? Mewtwo's on the opposing side of the field. They have Side Drive. So for our 3 colorless energy, we're going to copy their 150 attack and then kill the opposing Mewtwo. What's funny about this is Mew is best also in a Mewtwo deck. So the more popular Mewtwo becomes, I think Mew will become even more popular in other decks, as it is in a way to counter the Mewtwo. Now, there is another card that's comboed up with the Mew EX, which returns it back to the hand, that we do not see in this Starmie deck, because we are only playing just one Mew. There is something that's going to happen with Mew where I believe the popularity won't be as prevalent as I predicted, and that is because of Celebi. Celebi is a card that the Mew's not going to be so good against because copying the Celebi's effect is no good. This is going to be flipping a coin per energy attached to this Pokemon and deals 50 damage for each heads. Now, you may be thinking, that's a pretty good ability to copy. Well, Celebi is using and abusing another grass Pokemon that's doubling up all the energy. What that means is with 2 energy on the Celebi, you flip 4 coins, where with Mew, you're going to only slowly ramp that up 1 by 1, 3 coins initially, then 4 coins, where Celebi is going to go from 2 coins, 4 coins, 6 coins, 8 coins, 10 coins. I've seen screenshots of this dealing 600 to 800 damage. Now, I think it's mostly against the computer, but that's how crazy this ability ramps up. And also, the Mew's not going to be good against Pikachu. Copying the effect of Pikachu is also bad. So the more type-specific Pokemon like Celebi and Pikachu that exist, the more Mew will be less relevant. But it being able to copy Mewtwo is a big deal. Let's see what else we have here. We have Marshadow. Top 4 of a tournament. Let's see this Marshadow deck. Marshadow with Coughing, Wheezing, and Arbok. This is a Koga deck now using Marshadow, but we're going to call it a Marshadow deck. Why is Marshadow so good? Because its revenge ability is it's insane. It kills a Pikachu in 1 hit. So you have to deal with the wheezing, right? It's going to be your main Pokemon at the front. You're continually gas leaking on the opponent. You're going to be poisoning them and tackling for 30 damage. Well, when they finally kill your wheezing, you're going to then use the Marshadow to avenge your wheezing by dealing 100 damage. It deals an extra 60 on top of the 40 if your Pokemon was just knocked out. And because it's dealing fighting energy damage, something like a Pikachu, it is exactly game. Lethal damage, 120 health, weak to fighting, so it does 120 damage to a Pikachu. That is crazy good. And we already know the power of Koga, being able to return the wheezing back. So as you're trying to get rid of the wheezing, it then returns back and heals to full. What is interesting here is we're not using the new coughing, which I thought we maybe would at least play one. So we type in coughing here. The brand new coughing has division. Put one random coughing from your deck onto your bench, where the regular coughing that was used in this tournament topping deck list using Marshadow is instead sticking with suffocating gas for 20 damage. Also, it's worth noting that, as I predicted, the new wheezing would not really be used. The smoke screen 50, and if it were to be used, you'd only use one, and maybe, yeah, just 1 in 1. Otherwise, stick with 2 of the older wheezing because the ability is just way too good. And I don't think we want them to power creep this. This is already incredible. Let's check out another deck list here. So good job on Marshadow. And then we have, well, look at the Celebi deck right here, right now. Boom. First place of a 260 player event. This deck is incredible. First of all, we already knew that Erica was a really good card. Heal for 50 onto one of your grass type Pokemon. Now, with how powerful that was, there's no grass Pokemon on the tier list because the grass Pokemon all sucked. Well, this set changes everything. We now get to use and abuse Erica in an immensely powerful deck. What's so powerful about this? It is the Serperior combo plus Celebi. They both need each other. So let's read them both. Let's zoom in super big. Jungle Totem, this works from the back row, the bench, and this is very similar to Gardevoir in a way, where Gardevoir is going to provide energy for your Mewtwo. Instead, the Serperior is going to provide energy for your Celebi by doubling up all grass energy used on your Celebi. And the Celebi at 130 health, it is a basic Pokemon, so you could start off with it right away. And at just 2 energy, you could start using its ability of flip a coin for each energy attached to this Pokemon, deal 50 for each heads. And the Serperior is going to turn each grass into an additional grass. So with just 2 energy onto the Celebi, that's going to be flipping 4 coins for a potential 200 damage, an average of 100. So an average 100 damage on 2 energy, that is crazy. Now, if you have 4 energy onto the Celebi, you on average will deal 200 damage. So the Celebi plus Serperior is essentially a Charizard, and with the ability to do even more damage than a Charizard. I'm sorry, this is choking up a bit. There you go. It's a lot of people on the site today. Crimson Storm, you have 200 damage, discard 2 fire energy to deal that 200 damage, and instead of the 200 damage here, you have Celebi with 4 energy similar to Charizard will instead do up to 400 damage on average, 200 damage, but of course, it could do 0 damage. It's between 0 and 400 damage, but you know how math works. It will likely be 200, as good as a Charizard, and oh, this is crazy. That is so good. Now, the Solar Beam on the Serperior, of course, that's backup. It's not good. It's all about the Celebi and healing the Celebi with your Erica. Now, what else do we have in this deck list? It's not just Snivy into Servine, into Serperior, backed up by the Celebi being boosted as your main sweeper. We're using another card here. The card is going to be Petlil into Lilligant. Petilil does what? It does blot. Heal 10 damage from this Pokemon, so that's not really a big deal. We want to evolve it into Lilligant, which does Leaf Supply. Take a grass energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your benched grass Pokemon. This is giving me the vibes of a card like Moltres. Let's type in that real quick. Moltres. Moltres EX, Inferno Dance, flip 3 coins, and then you get to attach fire energy from your energy zone onto your benched Pokemon. So this deck, essentially, you take the Moltres from fire, and then you take the Gardevoir that is in Psychic, you put these two together, and they're now in Grass. The Lilligant's the Moltres, and the Serperior is the Gardevoir, but the other decks don't have something as powerful as an Erica. So I do believe that Celebi is going to be up there with Mewtwo as more people obtain the cards to play this deck. So definitely a new top tier deck to be looking out for. And what's interesting, we are using X Speed instead of Leaf. Does that mean Leaf is not a good card? Well, if we look at the analytics on Leaf, there's actually a lot of people playing Leaf. Some are playing 1, some are playing 2. Let's click on Leaf specifically as we go into the other deck list in a bit. Yeah, here are recent decks. We have playing 2 Leaf. This is playing 1 Leaf. And, you know, if you're not understanding why Leaf isn't just straight up better and used more than the X Speed, it's because it's a supporter card. In the Pokemon TCG, they will frequently have item cards, and supporter cards do the same thing, but the item card will be worse, specifically because the item card is not restricted to a hard once per turn activation on just using items. If you use a supporter card like Professor Oak to draw 2, you now can't use your Leaf. But if you draw into your X Speed, you can now use your X Speed. So let's go on back to the other top deck list here. I also want to see if people are using Poke-Flute. Let's look that up real quick because that is on my mind. The Flute. I would guess that people are not using this yet. Let's see. Yeah, so far, no use for the Poke-Flute. It's going to have niche usage. Let's now take off the Celebi and look at Blaine. Blaine did get some new support. Let's check it out. And looking at the Blaine deck list, we can look at the Blaine breakdown to see how the deck was being played. It was being played with regular Ponyta into Rapidash, Vulpix into Ninetales. Some were playing Farfetch D, and then here are some recent decks. You can even see the new deck list right here, just on this screen, but we'll go to it from here. Second place of a 300-player event. That is incredible. Using the new Ponyta, new Rapidash. Anything else new here? No. So here's the full deck list on screen, nicely zoomed. The new Ponyta's got Stomp for 10 plus damage. Flip a coin. If heads, the attack does 30 more damage. And this will be backed up by the Blaine. The Blaine is going to deal an additional 30 damage for just your Ninetales, Rapidash, and Magmar. So it does not actually boost up your Ponyta. And it's also worth noting that the Blaine cannot be used at the same time as Giovanni. You're not going to be able to get that plus 40 damage due to being supporter. They have to be used separately. There's another card I do want to look up if I remember correctly. Well, I'll just do it so I don't forget. I'll open up in a new tab. I want to see the analytics on blue. Are people using blue that helps reduce damage from the opposing Pokemon from a deck like this trying to one-shot you? So Ponyta dealing that 40 damage. It could be boosted by Giovanni, but not by Blaine. And then we go into the new Rapidash. Let's compare both Rapidashes and see why we're using the new one completely over the old one. So rip to those that have the alt art of the old one, as it's now been replaced by, I gotta say, the new art looks really good. Now, Rising Lunge, 40 plus damage. You flip a coin, if heads, it does 60 more damage. That's 100 damage. And what are the important damage choke points here? We are going to want to look at the popular monsters. Pikachu, 120 health. So we look at Rapidash only dealing 100, that's no good, right? Well, when comboed up with Blaine, you are now Rapidash one-shotting a Pikachu. That is a huge deal. It is unfortunately not enough to one-shot a Mewtwo, but there is something really nice about this Rapidash. It dealing 100 damage plus 30 with the Blaine, that is perfectly killing something. Is it on your mind? That is the brand new Mew. Where's Mew at? Not Mew, this one, Mew EX. 130 health on the Mew X. The Rapidash is one-shotting the brand new Mew X that a ton of people are going to be playing. And what is the Celebi's health at? Celebi, oh, and we're dealing 150 damage to the Celebi. So you have to understand with Celebi, to one-shot a Celebi at Rapidash, you do have to flip a coin and hit heads, but you don't need Blaine. How do you not need Blaine? It's only going to be 120 damage. Well, Giovanni plus Rapidash is going to one-shot the Celebi. I do think that this deck, Blaine with the new Rapidash, is going to keep Celebi in check. That's got to be your biggest weakness. This has to be another meta winner within this new pack, specifically because of the Rapidash. And if you don't have Rapidash, you're then going into Ninetales, which is going to be dealing how much damage here? 90 into 110. So the Ninetales cannot use Giovanni to one-shot a Celebi, but it will be able to one-shot a Blaine. So Blaine plus Ninetales kills Celebi, and Rapidash plus Giovanni kills Celebi. That is crazy. Wow. And I think this deck is very free-to-play friendly. No EX Pokemon in sight. So if you're a free-to-play user and you just want to quickly clap up people, especially those using the brand new Mew EX or the brand new Celebi, this is the deck to Rising Lunge, clap them, but do get lucky with your coin flips. Hopefully they're in your favor. Let's see what other decks we have here. We have, let's click off Blaine. Pikachu is being updated. What is the new way to play Pikachu? We got a first place deck and a top 4 deck. And we can also look at the Pikachu EX breakdown for the most popular way to play the deck. Of course, they're playing the Pikachu EX. Zapdos is really popular. What the most popular supporter cards to Pikachu EX is the Blitzel into Zebra Strike, which deals 30 damage to any Pokemon either on the bench or in the active spot. And then some were also playing Raichu. About 64% were not. And let's see, we have Voltorb and Electrode. I think Electrode got completely power crapped and may never be used again, except it does kind of work with the Lieutenant Surge. I don't know how often you would actually use Lieutenant Surge comboed up with the Electrode. Let's get into the tournament topping deck list, which we're going to have starting off with the first place of a 64-player tournament. What is new here? We're still using Blitzel. We're still using Zebra Strike. We're still using Zapdos EX with our Pikachu EX. Looking at the supporter cards, we're using the brand new blue. During your opponent's next turn, all damage is -10 from attacks of the opponent's of their Pokemon, which is very important because a lot of people are perfectly trying to deal 120 damage to kill that Pikachu in one shot. You drop Pikachu down to 10 health, that's no good. They're going to zap you back for that big damage. So very nice. I do expect, I would think I'd take out the red card, maybe put in 2 blues, which with how prevalent it is to deal that 120 perfectly to a Pikachu. Now, the new card here is Dedenne. Dedenne has the effect of flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. It's a nice little basic Pokemon at the start to just be annoying to your opponent as you try to build up your Pikachu EX in the bench maybe before you just swap this out. It's got a 1 retreat cost. That's fine. The damage on this is lower, but the paralysis is going to be annoying to deal with. That's it. So let's see what else the other Pikachu deck was using. Top 4 of an 85-player event. We are, again, still using the Dedenne, but we're not using Blitzel and the Zebra Strike. We're using Raichu, but not the new Raichu. Why are we not using the new Raichu? Discard all energy from this Pokemon, deal 140 for a 3-energy Thunderbolt, backed up by the Lieutenant Surge, which could supply the energy from your bench. Now, I did talk about this in my review, that I believe the old Raichu is better than the new one because the older Raichu is for just one-shotting. It's supposed to end the game. You're not supposed to really play beyond discarding all your energy from the Raichu to deal that 140 damage. And if we look at the newer Raichu, it's more niche usage. It deals 20 damage to the bench plus 60 to the active Pokemon. It's still 3 electric energy. I feel like if Giga Shot was at 2 electric energy, it may be too powerful, but it would then be used more than the Raichu. Maybe if the Giga Shot was dropped down to 50 damage instead of 60, but still dealing 20 to the bench, then we definitely would have had something there. I don't really expect the new Raichu to see as much use, but we do see, what's the new card besides Dedenne? We got the new Pikachu. Now, the non-Pikachu EX and the EX Pikachu, they do not conflict with each other. Let's read the brand new Pikachu. It is literally a lesser version. It's the same ability. Circle Circuit for 1 electric energy, where the Pikachu EX does Circle Circuit for 2 electric energy. So the Pikachu EX is 30 damage, and it's going to be 30 for each of your benched Pokemon that is electric type. It's going to deal 90 damage. Now, what is the regular Pikachu? This does 10 damage instead for each of your benched electric Pokemon. It does 30 damage. Okay, well, normally a basic Pokemon is going to deal just 20 damage. So this being 30, it's a little bit better, and that's fine. And why is it such a big deal to deal 30 instead of 20? It's only 10 more. Well, If you're facing another basic Pokemon, they're generally going to have 60 health. So this regular Pikachu is going to be able to two-shot another basic Pokemon, where a regular basic Pokemon against the Pikachu, it's going to take them 3 hits in order to kill your Pikachu. So that 10 extra damage, it does actually matter. And then, of course, we're going to evolve it into the Raichu for the Thunderbolt 140 damage finisher. Now, I think what many of you are waiting for, where is the Mew at? We're going to go, okay, let's see blue real quick. Lots of use of blue. Blue's being used in a ton of Mewtwo deck lists. Okay, let's close this, close that. Are you ready? The final deck, Mewtwo EX, at the top of tournament toppings after the new pack using new cards. We're gonna start, we'll just open all these up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So start from the bottom, 260 player event, second place. What new cards are being used here? A lot of new cards. We have 1 Mew EX with the genome hacking, being able to copy an effect, also 130 base health. And because we're using this in a psychic deck, we could poke the opponent down with Psy Shot for 20 damage every turn as we're building up for the genome hacking. And what's great about this deck list is if they start burning down your Mew EX, you heal it. How do you heal it? We don't have Erica. Well, Budding Expeditioner is a full heal. You grab your Mew EX before it gives them 2 points for killing it, and you return it to your hand. And by returning it to your hand, it goes back to full 130 health and fully replenished. You're not returning back an evolved Pokemon like a Gardevoir, which you then have to re-evolve. It's just the base Mew EX 130 health return. This combo is super deadly. And we are seeing blue using this deck to help protect your Mewtwo EX. Now, specifically, what could blue be good against? I think blue is a really good countermeasure for opposing Mew EXs. If an opposing Mew EX is going to copy your Mewtwo, that is a one-shot, 150 damage. If you activate blue, the Mew EX now does not one-shot your Mewtwo EX. So it's going to be really interesting for me is to see how many people are playing blue and then how many people are playing Giovanni to essentially negate the blue to regain that 10 extra damage that they are then nullifying. Now, a big winner in the Mewtwo deck type, and I'm really shocked and I would say disappointed in the Pokemon Company making this new pack. Where is all of the supporter and item support for the other decks? I thought a deck like Charizard would be really good with this new pack before even knowing any of the cards. I for sure thought we would have a way to search for Charmeleon or Charizard, but instead, an already top-tier Mewtwo deck just gained more consistency, and that is through the Mythical Slab. What the heck? Why isn't there a Mythical Slab of every energy type? Why isn't there a Fire Slab, Electric Slab? Maybe Electric doesn't need it. This will look at the top card of your deck. If that card is a Psychic Pokemon, put it in your hand. If it's not, you then put it to the bottom of your deck. I think what could have even made this more balanced is the card you look at, if it's not Psychic, to then put it back on top of your deck. Because even when this misses and you do not add a Psychic Pokemon to your hand, you now just increase your chance to draw into the Psychic Pokemon you want. So you either have a Gardevoir on top of your deck, or it's under the top card of your deck that you're now putting on the bottom of your deck, as you're now more consistently setting up Gardevoir to give your Mewtwo EX 2 energy every turn to deal that 150 damage. I think this card is disgustingly good, and it's an item. I think this is a mistake to release, honestly. Why did they do this? This item, both are usable. You could use both in the same turn, does not conflict with your other cards. So you Professor Research, draw 2, let's say you draw a Pokeball and a Mythical Slab, you Pokeball your deck, and then even thinning it out more, and then Mythical Slab to grab your Kirlia or your Gardevoir. Insanity. I'm sorry, if you're a Charizard, Chad, this is something that you needed, not Mewtwo, so you're going to have to wait for the next set. Let's see what other Mewtwo decks are doing. Are they all playing the same? Now, with how good the Mythical Slab is, I'm shocked that this 300-player event winner is not playing the Mythical Slab. Am I out of my mind on how good that card is? We are instead playing 2 Mew EXs plus a Budding Expeditioner, which again, full heal for the Mew EX as you return it back to the hand. We're using X speed, even red card over Mythical Slab. That is crazy. I don't know if this player is just really lucky with setting up the Gardevoir. We don't need Mythical Slab in this deck. Insanity. Wow. So good job to you. Double Mew EX plus a Budding Expeditioner. I'm going to see, is anyone playing 2 Budding Expeditioner? I think the card is so good, even though it's a supporter card, does conflict with Sabrina and Professor Research. I think this card is worth being played at 2. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's find out. Here's another deck, first place, and it's got only one Mythical Slab. We are playing Leaf plus Budding Expeditioner and one Mew EX. Now, I do have the question for myself that this being the day of the new pack release, maybe some of these players didn't have enough time to get enough Mew EXs to fill their deck out with. Of course, they'd have enough time to get 2 Mythical Slabs, right? How could they be joining a tournament with the other new cards but not have the Slabs? So maybe we'll see over the next few days, the deck will be more, homogenized on the best way to play it. And so what's good with Leaf? Leaf is going to be retreat cost of your active Pokemon is 2 less. It is a supporter. It does conflict with your Professor Research. My prediction for this is that this is not a good card to play at 2, even though it looks like, holy crap, you got to play this at 2. X Speed is a card that you could use in addition to a supporter card, but Leaf will be conflicting with it. But still, the Mewtwo EX being 2 retreat energy, you Leaf it back to the hand. There you go, if needed. So initially, if you are setting up a Mewtwo on the active and a Mewtwo on the bench, and you're putting the energy onto your benched Mewtwo, you could then leaf the one onto from your active spot to then get your benched Mewtwo up and ready right away in a super efficient way. I think that's going to be the main combo with this, right? You tell me. Let's see what else we have here. We have first place of 150 player event, double Mythical Slab, 1 Budding Expeditioner, 1 Leaf, and 1 blue plus 1 Mew EX. Is 1 Mew EX the best, or is 2? Only time will tell. And yep, very good on the blue. Blue to counter the Mew EX, Leaf to retreat the Mewtwo, Budding Expeditioner to heal the Mew, Mythical Slab to make the deck more consistent. Let's keep on going. We have Mewtwo EX again with 1 Mew EX. So the biggest problem with 2 Mew EX is it's going to reduce your consistency of opening up Mewtwo EX. I guess the problem is the deck is so good, the other cards are better, right? We want a Mewtwo EX, not a Mew EX as our starter. Mew EX is a really good card, but it dropping the consistency where your opening hand, you want to, it's going to be it initially was a 1 in 4 chance, right? To have the Mewtwo EX. Now it's a 1 in 5 chance. Okay, it was a 50% chance, that is, because you have 4 Pokemon and 2 of them are Mewtwo EX. Now at the Mew EX, it jumps up. And if you play a second copy of Mew EX plus the 2 Ralts and 2 Mewtwo EX, you are going from 50% chance to starting the game with the Mewtwo EX down to 33%. I would say that is the only big real downside of using Mew EX, even though the card is incredible. And it's probably why if I'm going to play Mew EX, it's going to be with double Budding Expeditioner. We got a Leaf in here. We got a blue with 2 Mythical Slab. So this is a really popular setup. The 1 Budding, 1 Leaf, 1 blue, and 2 Slab plus 1 Mew EX. Let's see if that continues with this trend. Again, we have 1 Mew EX in the deck, no Budding Expeditioner, 2 Mythical Slab, no blue, and we are playing 1 Leaf. That 1 Leaf must be coming in clutch. I'm very curious to see how people decide to use more of this or less. And then we have the final deck list. First place of an 85-player event, double Mew EX Chad, double Mythical Slab, double Leaf. Are you out of your mind? We have 1 Budding Expeditioner. Now, the Mew itself is a 1 retreat cost. So the double Leaf, it has to be for the Mewtwo EX. Out of curiosity, my deck, I want to build double Budding, double Leaf, double Mew EX, double Mythical Slab, double Professor Research, double Pokeball. That's the deck I'd be trying. I don't think it's going to be the best way to play it, but that's what I would be doing my testing with on the ladder. Double, and there you go. It's a 33% chance to open up that Mewtwo on your starting bench. Very nicely done. Good job to you. Nice. This is the most new cards used among the new Mewtwo decks. Now, the Mewtwo deck breakdown on the main way to play the deck, as more tournaments come out, this will be populating very quickly. Within essentially just 1 week, this will be fully updated with the new cards being the best way to play, if that continues to be the trend, which it definitely will. But beyond that, you have the sample top deck of the first place one. You could check them all out here. The hover feature is a pro feature if you want to help support the website and remove ads. If not, all is good with that. And there you go. That is it for the new cards. Now, that's just for tournaments. If we look at non-tournament EX cards, or not non-tournament new cards, that is, let's click off the tournament feature. These are going to be 5 win streaks. So we see Marowak EX. What is this? Marowak EX is using Marshadow. I think I'm zoomed in enough where you can see this on the hover, right? There you go. Marshadow and Marowak, 5+ win streak from Jumo. Good job to you. You all could copy that. We have, what else here? Koga. Ooh, this is spicy. I'm just going to open up this one. This looks good. It may not have won a tournament, but 5+ win streak from the Discord. It's a poison deck. Scolopede's going to deal 50 more damage if the opponent's poisoned, and we have Whirlipede to deal poison, and we have Weezing to deal poison. I talked about this in my review. I said Whirlipede's worse than Weezing, but why don't you play it with Weezing? Peanut butter and jelly plus the Scolipede to clap them up. I love this deck list. This is definitely something I would be playing. Looks like we replaced Arbok. As we look at the Koga breakdown, Arbok was the way to play it. What else do we have here? Let's click off the Koga. We have a Gengar EX. I guess it would just be using Mew, right? Let's see. Just using Mew, right? No, we're sticking with Gengar, but we're using 2 new cards. Mythical Slab to make Gengar more consistent. You see, Mythical Slab is not just for Mewtwo. Well, it is helping Mewtwo a lot, but it's going to help us get the Haunter and the Gengar. And we're also using Chatot. Chatot was a card I was comparing to Meowth, and my prediction is that it's better than Meowth. While it's not a full mulligan, you activate Mimic, 1 colorless, shuffle your hand into your deck. You're only drawing for each card in your opponent's hand, not what you return to the deck yourself, which this could be a downside and an upside. You could return just 1 card back in your deck, and if your opponent's got a fat hand, you're drawing a fat new hand. This could be really scary for the opponent if that's the case. You're going to be plussing. The pluses off this could be incredible, if not just a regular little mulligan to get to your Gengar and Haunter. I love this. Is Gengar back in? Well, not back in, but is Gengar now in? Why do we even want to use Gengar to begin with? As long as this is the active spot Pokemon, your opponent can't use any supporter cards from their hand. I talked about this with the first set in my Gengar video, that Gengar is a card that will only become better and then better and then better. How does Gengar only become better? Because the better the new support cards are, the better Gengar becomes with floodgating the opponent and turning off the ability to use those new support cards. And those new support cards that Gengar is now turning off, let's type in supporter in the search here. So it was already turning off Professor Research, Sabrina, Giovanni, and now it's going to be turning off Erica in a Celebi deck. Let's scroll on down. There are the older ones. Turning off Blue, turning off Leaf, and turning off Budding Expeditioner. Yep, this will be a funny deck to whip out. So thank you, Epic Wick. And if you want to be submitting your deck list in the Discord or just hanging out in the Discord among like-minded individuals, where you could also get a whale code to greatly increase your chance on the Wonder Pick to get better cards. Let's see that. Let's continue the Discord here. And yep, load. And we can see here, we got leak news, general chat, all the good stuff. We got the 5 win streaks, pack pulls, friend code share. The whale code share is the spicy area, all right? You're going to have to scroll down to the bottom. The whales get added up very quickly, get their code, they add you back, and then you have a super boosted Wonder Pack code share thing where you are going to be seeing a lot of the new cards in your Wonder Share, Wonder Pick, yep. And there you go. That's the video. I appreciate you all for watching. We are out.